Welcome back to Pump Talk, Episode 3. Today, we've got a lot of stuff on the agenda, Jeremy.
We do.
We're going to talk about dual seals and kind of what I think of them in terms of dual seals in sump pumps and all across the industry, sewer pumps and various things, kind of get my take on that. Also, it looks like Franklin Electric's got some power play or has made a power play, big buyout. We're going to discuss that. And also, we've noticed that a foreign or German pump brand, Welo or Wilo or Velo, depending on who you are or how you pronounce it, they have come to the United States and are making their presence known and are definitely coming at distributors such as myself and trying to get that product out there. I haven't necessarily dealt with it much myself, so we'll talk about that a little bit more in the episode. Jeremy?
Yeah, after that we're going to be talking about the RM2 rebranding. RM2 rebranded, got some new logos out, and we'll share those and their meanings. We have a quick thing about these RM2 face plates here, and then we're going to close it out today with another OSHA training toolbox talk, and today it's ladders.
Always important to stay safe, especially when you're high. Up on a ladder.
Yeah, they know what you meant.
All right, so on to the dual seal subject. I've kind of come to a little bit of a friction point in my thought process of dual seal pumps. So a lot of times you'll see on the shelf when you're in your local big box store or something like that, on the side of the box it'll say dual seal, or oftentimes when you're shopping online you're going to see pumps that say dual seal. And I'm kind of starting to question whether or not that's really kind of something that people are going to want to be interested in. And more specifically, I've run into a situation where I've sold a number of dual seal pumps, and I think I've fallen victim to the same mindset that is kind of that I'm theorizing is out there. So when you've got a pump that fails because of a mechanical seal failure, that's not necessarily an abnormal failure. I mean, you're going to have seal failure on occasion, and that's just part of pump life. And I think that offering dual seals gives people an outlet for when they've experienced seal failure, and it gives them basically the ability to look at a pump and say, oh, well, this pump has dual seals. I'm not going to have seal failure because this thing has dual seals. And kind of in my experience, I've run into situations where dual seal pumps don't seem to last long. More specifically, they don't last as long as their single seal counterpart. And
why do you think that is?
Well, I think that there's a lot of things that contribute to that. I mean, more mechanical parts oftentimes contributes to a higher rate of failure,
right.
All other things considered. But somebody that I talked to in the larger pump industry, the very large turbine style pumps, dual seals are very popular and common in an industry like that. And he said that the upper seals broke on a very regular basis because of shaft deflection, or at least that's what he was told, or that's how he was informed. So you've got to think that when you've got a shaft and you have to extend it a little bit longer to accommodate that extra seal cavity, that you could potentially have a little bit of deflection, especially if it's an inexpensively built pump and they didn't go with the larger diameter shaft to kind of support that extended torque that's going to be happening on that shaft. So I don't know. That's just kind of the theory that I've come to. I've talked to a lot of people about dual seal pumps, and it just seems like they are more prone to fail.
But that being said, if you have a dual seal pump and one of the seals fail, even if it's the upper seal, because the probes in them are just detecting moisture, right? So even if the upper seal fails, if you have an oil-filled motor, you're going to get alerted, and you can go in and fix it. So it still has that redundancy factor that you're going to be able to replace it if one of the seals fail.
Well, I think you mentioned the upper seal. So I think if you have an upper seal fail, you're not going to get alerted because the motor chamber is assumably filled with oil, dielectric, just the same as the seal cavity. So you're only really going to get alerted when that lower seal fails, and the
okay.
fluid actually, the water, is able to travel up there and conduct electricity across those probes and then send that signal up to the panel. So that kind of brings me to my second point. I unquestionably think that double seals have a place in the market. And I think that it's more specific to those situations where you've got a high need for redundancy, where you have applications that you cannot be down. There's no situation where it's acceptable to be down.
Right.
So I think in those situations, having a seal failure probe is really going to help a person to make sure that they're being alerted at every possible stop to catch things. And also on really big pumps, if you've got a really large pump, assumably you're going to want to rebuild that pump even if it does fail, but that extra level of protection is worth it.
That's absolutely, yeah.
And what I've found anymore is that small pumps are not worth rebuilding, so why even have a dual seal in it to protect it or what have you? And basically it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me on the really small pumps to have it.
On the residential side of things, a sump pump, even, just a regular sump pump in a home, pay $200 for it, or you can pay $300 with the dual seal, and then they get you for $100 for the extra seal. You could have just bought a new pump and not gone through the mess of taking it apart and replacing the seal. But we understand for some people that's the way they want to go. Maybe they like fixing their own stuff and not feeling like they're getting ripped off. But just watch out for it. Sometimes you are.
Yeah, I think the dual seals do definitely have their place in the market. It's just, it seems to me that they're overhyped and oversold and just way over applied for the wrong reason.
Absolutely.
They're applied as a, hey, this has 2 seals, so it's going to last twice as long, and that's just not the case, at least in my experience. And this is solely based on my experience and the experiences of the people around me that I talk to and deal with. So if anyone has anything different to share on the dual seal subject, or maybe you have a personal experience, reach out to us. Leave that in the comments. We would love to hear about it, because I'm kind of still out in the open as far as what direction to really go with this. This is just kind of more of a theory at this point. So anyways, we'll move on to Franklin Electric. Franklin Electric is definitely in the news. Jeremy, you want to talk a little bit about the merger?
Yeah, so there was 3 companies that Franklin Electric ended up merging together. It was 2M, DSI, and Western Hydro. Now, I deal with Western Hydro on almost quite frequently every single day. Jeff from Western Hydro definitely knows me pretty well. But essentially, they're merging 3 different companies into a Franklin Electric distributor.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
We're seeing Franklin Electric essentially get involved in the distribution market. That definitely changes things up from the traditional approaches that we're seeing across the board, essentially from everybody else.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be really interesting to see how these other large distributors react, as well as how the other manufacturers in the competing markets react to this particular buyout. So we recently kind of got the announcement from them. And it essentially just says, and I'll read some of it here. We have both big and great news for you. 2M Company Incorporated, Drillers Service Inc., DSI, and Western Hydro Holding Corporation, and the 2M DSI, which is 2M, Headwater Wholesale, joint venture in the Upper Midwest are pleased to announce that they have reached an agreement to be acquired by Headwater Companies, LLC. These 4 professional groundwater distribution entities in the United States will constitute the Headwater Companies, a holding company owned by Franklin Electric that is focused on investing in our water system wholesale distribution business. So it just clear cut, Franklin Electric is getting into the distribution market, and it'll be just really interesting to kind of see where that goes, how that plays out. I know some of these companies that were bought out for distribution carry some of the competing lines.
And that's a big thing, even on the on the little sheet that we have here, and we'll post a link in the description for this. It tells you all the different lines that these guys carry, and Franklin Electric is just one of them. And these are just all completely different parts of the sectors, as far as the industry goes and what they sell. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see, how much more Franklin Electric they start to sell if other brands start getting, left behind in the dust, because Franklin Electric's just pushing their product, straight to the consumers and to the customers and to the contractors. They're going to be on the front lines now instead of, hiding behind the distributors.
And that also kind of makes me think, at the same time, there's obviously, or at least I would assume, that there's going to be some companies or some manufacturers that may pull away from that relationship. But at the same time, there's going to be some companies that maybe deal with 2M and don't deal with Western Hydro that are going to be brought together and ultimately going to allow distributors and resellers and installers like us kind of more access than maybe we had before. And I think that those channels could potentially click together and give us more access to a broader range of products. But of course, at the same time, if it goes the other direction, it could kind of clamp things down and really give a lot more focus to the product offering. So it'll be interesting to see what direction Franklin Electric decides to take that, or Headwater Companies, as I think it's independently managed.
Yep, so it's going to be called Headwater Companies. Yeah, it's a little too soon to tell, I think. But it'll be interesting. We'll keep an eye out for it in the months to come and see if it has what the big impact is, or if any other companies get bought out.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting, no doubt.
Well, and $89 million is what was paid total to acquire those three companies, in case you guys were wondering.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's plenty of information out there if you're looking to read about it. We'll see if we can't find an article or two and link it in the description below. We'd love to also hear your thoughts if you've got them on this particular subject as well. If anybody's got perhaps some inside knowledge as to where things are going to be going or anything like that, we'd love to get you on the show or just to hear from you. Either way. So. Moving on to the Wilo, whatever we'll call it. Somebody correct us.
WILO.
Yes,
that's how it's spelled. Say it how you want.
Yes. Definitely somebody maybe correct us, because we haven't been coached on how to properly pronounce this four-letter word. We're in North Idaho. The schools aren't the best here. Okay. No. No. But anyways, Wilo. They're a USA provider now of pumps and pump solutions for building services, water management, and groundwater markets. And it's pretty exciting that we're seeing another kind of Grundfos-like brand. I hate to put the two kind of together because they are definitely different companies. Yeah. But from the perspective of an American, I guess it's kind of got the German-esque, European-esque feel to it. And that's not always a bad thing. You usually get a lot of high-quality products. I know Grundfos is a pretty reputable product line.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially over in the European markets. And it'll be interesting to kind of see what that next level of competition brings to the States. It's always nice to get more people fighting over the same dinner scraps, because you get a lot of industry improvements that way.
Yeah, it definitely seems like they're huge, overseas, and if they can kind of bring that here, they're just up-and-comers right now, but as I have listed here, it looks like they bought out 3 companies that employ around 150 people, so I think that's about half of the Franklin Electric buyout. I think the Franklin Electric buyout was around 250 to 300 people, so about half that, but they ended up buying out Whale or Weil, again, correct us guys. WEIL.
I think that one's Whale.
Whale.
I think.
The Whale Pumps. They bought out Whale Pump Company and Scott Pump Company, as well as component manufacturer Carrick Machine Corporation. So they came into the industry pretty hard in America.
Yeah, we've been, as far as I know, we've been approached 2 times to start distributing some of their products, and I'm seriously considering it. At this point, we've got a particular company that we've got access through, and it looks like the pricing is pretty strong, and the quality of product seems to be there, though I haven't had the chance to get my hands on it. So pretty interesting to kind of see how that plays out, and we'll definitely keep people informed if we get an opportunity to get our hands on it, because reporting on quality, reporting on product problems and things like that, unfortunately is kind of also part of what needs to happen to keep things moving in the right direction. And that kind of gives us a good transition into a recently discovered problem with my favorite jet pump and hopefully Jeremy's favorite jet pump too.
Definitely.
The tried and true, once was a Red Jacket, once was a Jacuzzi, and is now a Franklin Electric product. The RM2, the JRM2, the J07
R1MC.
Yeah, whatever nomenclature it goes by, we know the pump. Everybody knows the pump. And unfortunately, we kind of ran into a slight problem with some of the pumps where the plug on the side of the pump, where your injector goes, is the beveling on the threads wasn't quite happening all the way around. So what was happening is when the plug is being installed, the O-rings rub up against some of the thread cut in and actually cause that O-ring to become split. Now, I pulled apart every pump on my shelf. One of these RM2s, we stock quite a number of them just because it's such a popular pump, and it's a pump that we use so frequently because it's so good. And a lot of them, unfortunately, had a little bit of a slit in the O-ring. And, you know, I would imagine they do water test these pumps. I will point that out. So I would imagine that wouldn't be a detriment unless you needed to monkey with that. And then in that case, you're not insured that it's a good situation. And in the off chance that O-ring gets cut to just a thread and then you water test it passes, and then it sits in your house for a year or two, you know, it could definitely, just a minor amount of emery cloth or a little sandpaper, something like that, to take that little burr off is all a person needs to get this thing back up and running. We at RC Worst stock the O-rings, so if you recently acquired an RM2 and just want to take a look or have to replace those jets, definitely grab yourself some emery cloth or something, smooth that out, and then maybe pick up an extra set of O-rings just to play it safe. We're definitely working with the manufacturer on this particular situation because we want a quick remedy for our favorite pump. And it's not a huge issue, but it's definitely something that you know, it's a little concerning. So we wanted to make everyone aware that we ran into that, and we're hoping that we can get it get resolution quickly. I will say that any pumps that we're going to be shipping out, we're going to be inspecting those, and we're going to be cleaning that up as best we can before it goes out the door.
Absolutely. And if you guys do end up having to replace it, or if you just want to check it, I definitely wouldn't recommend checking it before needed, though. I mean, there's no point in, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it type of thing. But it's just right here around the outside. If you feel around there and notice some sharp edges, then you know that you need to, you know, take that emery cloth to it, rub it. It's not deep inside. It's just right here on the surface where it wasn't quite machined down like you see the rest of them have been.
Yeah, again, not a huge deal. I think it's a minor overlook, and you know, I'm sure that we're going to get quick resolution on it, and it's not going to be a big deal. Also, I guess we'll talk about hats. I've got a hat here that I am going to be giving away. This is an RC Worst camouflage hat, just very similar to the one that I'm wearing.
Yeah, we know you guys probably didn't see it until now, but there is a hat sitting right here.
Yes.
Maybe if I put my hand behind it.
There it is.
See?
Oh,
Look at
okay.
that. It's right there.
Excuse me. Anyway, like and share this video, leave a comment, and I'll get you a hat. You just got to do those things and let me know that you did them, and I'll send it out. Now, I'm only giving away 2 hats this time, so first come, first serve on that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
We really appreciate the likes and shares and all the great comments, support, and feedback.
Yeah, you got plenty of stuff to comment on too. Let us know about the, you know, the dual seal pumps, what you think about Franklin Electric buying those guys out, Wilo, then we'll even this RM2. We'd love to hear about it, and if you had any, you know, problems or anything like that. So I guess next up is Orenco's rebranding, and Chris is going to pull up some of the images here that we have for it.
I'm going to do it over here. Boom.
Boom.
All right.
There it is. Right there. You guys see that? It's pretty nice. So I'll just read the email that we got there from them. So we're excited to share the updated logos developed for Orenco Systems, Orenco Composites, and Orenco Controls. So now they're kind of 3 separate entities. Were they like that before?
Well, yeah. Actually, they not too long ago, kind of segmented. It was all just one.
A Renko.
And it was Renko, and then they kind of segmented it up. I think because their company is just growing so much, that they kind of need a little more focus in each division to be more successful and to provide that higher level of service that their Renko customers have grown accustomed to. And I think that they did this essentially different colors this time than last time, just to bring that difference to a more...
Chris, you are absolutely right, and I'll actually tell you what the difference is in each of the colors.
Please, I'm a lack of words here.
So the new Renko Systems logo represents their corporate vision and illustrates our focus on protecting the world's water. The blue arrows represent their emphasis on water conservation and reuse, while the image of a globe conveys both their desire to protect the planet's resources and their experience doing business all over the world. Though the basic design elements for each division are similar, every logo contains a unique element that speaks to that division's core products. The composite logo features a central webbed graphic that conveys the strength of their fiberglass products, and the controls logo includes a graphic that represents connectivity, illustrating how their panels can connect various kinds of equipment. So, pretty basic, pretty cool. I kind of like them.
What I got from that is that they just spent a ton of time and focus and thought into this logo design. And unfortunately, this graphic is not super high resolution.
It's not. Do we want to mention how the what is that? The Renko composites.
What about them?
Can we talk about how that looks like a Pokeball?
I don't think we can talk about Pokeballs.
No.
On Pump Talk.
No.
We'll have to just cut that.
All right,
No,
we'll table.
I'm just kidding.
We'll table that one for next time, guys. If you guys have anything to say about the Pokeballs that we just showed, or I'm sorry, images that we just showed, comment below.
No, I really like that logo. It's pretty modern, fresh.
Yeah, it is.
So I guess that leaves us with our safety talk this time around. Always an OSHA training toolbox safety talk. And this week, again, step ladders. Portable step ladders, more specifically. I haven't run into a lot of not portable step ladders, to be honest.
Well,
I mean, the word seems implied, but I'm not going to pick apart the safety because being safe is important. So many of the most common accidents that occur when we use a portable step ladder can be avoided by observing the following tips. Jeremy, would you take it away with the do's?
Yeah, absolutely I will. So do's. Do always inspect your portable stepladder before use and take it out of service if there's any deficiency found that affects its safe use. Make sure all 4 feet of the portable stepladder are set on a level and stable surface, and that both ladder spreaders are fully extended and locked into place before use.
Okay, hold on 1 second, Jeremy.
Yes, sir.
Is it just me, or are they using the word portable way too much?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm sorry. Keep going.
On this next line, keep your ladder, your body, your tools, and any materials at least 10 feet away from energized electrical conductors, or even further for higher voltages exceeding 50 kV. Always make sure at least one of your hands is firmly grasping a run or side rail when you're climbing up or down a ladder. And be aware that just sliding your hand along the side rail as you ascend or descend the ladder does not constitute grasping the ladder. So no action movie sliding up or down. I don't know how you slide up, but
it's cheating.
You guys do that. Don't do that.
And unsafe.
Maintain your balance and center of gravity on your portable step ladder by keeping your belt buckle between the 2 side rails. So if you're not wearing a belt buckle, I guess it does apply. Reposition the ladder instead of overreaching.
That's also important.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go to the do nots. Never use a portable step ladder for purposes for which it was not designed. For example, do not lean a closed portable step ladder against a wall or other surface for the purpose of climbing or standing on one that has been placed across objects in a horizontal position. That was a complicated sentence.
You got through it.
I did. Anyway, do not use a portable step ladder made of metal or any other conductive materials when performing any task or working in an area where you you, your tools or materials, or the ladder could make contact with energized electrical conductors or equipment. Never climb up or down a portable step ladder while carrying any object that prevents you from firmly grasping the ladder with at least one hand, or that could cause you to lose your balance. And I think that that ties right into what you said in the do's, where it says to grasp the ladder. Do not place any tools or materials on the top cap or any step of your ladder that might fall and strike someone if the ladder were to be bumped inadvertently. Never stand on the top cap of a regular portable step ladder or on the top step. Always follow the ladder manufacturer's rules and warning stickers for proper standing surfaces. While these are not the only precautions and prohibitions? I'm going to restart that sentence. While these are not the only precautions or prohibitions applicable to the use of a portable step ladder, heeding these simple steps can go a long ways towards protecting all of us who do use them from accidents, injuries, and even death.
You know, Chris, and while we're on the topics of step ladders, you know, I never knew my real ladder.
And with that, thanks for joining us today on Pump Talk, everybody. Have a great day. Great
have a good
weekend.
one, guys.
Thanks.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want one of these hats, too.
Yes. Only 2.
Not many people comment, so there's a good chance you'll get it.